Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Reverend Ivy Rivera's Psychic Medium's Ask a Medium show here on Academy Talk Radio. We are live on the air from our studio in the Ivy League Psychic Academy in Amherst, New York. Reverend Ivy Rivera has designed this show in the expectancy that it will reach those who are ready to receive the knowledge being taught here at exactly the right moment in synchronicity with your spirit. Ivy encourages all listeners worldwide to attend classes electronically or in person at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where we are raising up the next generation of lightworkers. For a full listing of classes, visit ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com, and to book a reading with Ivy, visit ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com or find her on Facebook. Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Friedman, and I am your host for this week's show. I'm an assistant teacher here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy. Each week, a different assistant teacher will be hosting, either Brittany Rose, Theresa Matuszak, or myself. My guest tonight is Theresa Matuszak. How are you, Theresa?
I'm great. Hi, everybody. How are you?
I'm good. Excited to start this. Before we get on tonight's topic, I'd like to mention some of the upcoming classes and events. So we have Coffee with Your Angels, March 14th at 7 p.m., $25. That is Skype optional. We have the Dreams class on March 22nd at 7 p.m. That is $30 and Skype optional. Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cuttings class, March 23rd at 7, $30 Skype optional. We also have Reiki Levels 1 and 2 and Masters class, March 25th, 3 to 8 p.m. However, that is not Skype optional. You have to be in person for that class. And we also have an event coming up. The winery at Margin Manor is going to host the Ivy League Psychics for a Psychic Fair, March 26th, from 1 to 4 p.m. This event will feature graduates from the Academy offering readings. There's going to be 4 psychic mediums and 1 tarot card reader. I have the pleasure of working this event again. Margin Manor is a gorgeous place with a lot of history, and I really encourage everyone to stop by and see us for a reading. So on tonight's show, we're going to discuss spirit guides, who they are, how they help us, how to communicate with them, and also what happens when we don't listen. We're also going to talk about signs and warnings that you're not hearing from a guide. We're also taking questions all hour, either on topic or psychic mediumship questions. The number to call in is 646-668-2353. Again, that's 646-668-2353. All right. We have any callers waiting? Okay, so before we get on topic, we're going to go ahead to the first caller. Hello, caller. Are you there?
I am. Hi, this is Donna. How are you?
Good. How are you? Where are you calling from, Donna?
I'm California. I'm looking forward to your show.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
great to have you.
Topic.
So what's your question tonight?
I got on eHarmony, and I'm talking to 2 gentlemen. One, his name is John. He's in the Bay Area. I'm in Santa Barbara. And the other one is Harold, and he's in Lancaster. And they're a little bit older than I, but seem to have things in common. And I'm at the retirement age, and they've retired. I want to know if you see anything developing between either one of these gentlemen.
Sure. Just give me a second here. See what I'm getting.
No.
So I want to say it feels really good when you start mentioning John. I feel like that's a good direction to go in. The other man feels a little bit more, I want to say, hesitant in his energy. It feels like he might be holding back a little bit, maybe not quite ready for what you have to offer. I feel like John is like more in the mature zone and, definitely ready and head on and wants to look forward to having you with a partner. It does feel like, I want to say a little bit more time talking, getting to know each other. I want to say at least spend another 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
And then I want to say it about like the month mark. That's when I start to see things picking up. Theresa, what are you getting with this?
I'm pretty much right on target where you are. Hi, Donna. How are you?
Fine. Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like there's. I'm also getting a dark-haired gentleman with this. So I don't know if John has darker hair, if you've seen a picture of him or anything.
No hair.
But I'm
feeling, no hair.
Okay. Did he used to have dark hair?
But that's okay. I'm open to meeting someone else too.
Okay, well, I'm also getting a dark-haired gentleman that may be coming in here, and his energy feels actually kind of like quick and clean and everything, like a lot of fun to be around, somebody who you could share a lot of similar interests with. I also feel where Amanda is, like with John, I feel like that's really good, but I also kind of feel like kind of keep your options open just a little bit, but you'll know definitely as it comes closer as to really which way your energy is moving and which one's better for you. But I'm also hearing don't fall back into old tendencies also. Keep moving in the right direction, like keep moving forward. But otherwise, yes, I see a lot of prosperity there with either gentleman, really. It's all in your free will, so it's going to be your call. So good luck.
Good luck. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Hello, caller. Are you there?
Hi, this is Mike.
Hi, Mike. Where are you calling from?
I'm in California as well.
Okay, great. What's your question?
The question is, I just left a job for another job that'll be starting in a week or two, and I just kind of want to get some insight on that financially. If you feel it's going to be much better, it is just like a restaurant job, so there are tips involved and so forth, and I just kind of want to get your feel for it for the next couple months.
Sure. So what I'm getting right when you say that, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of struggle, maybe for up to about 3 months. They're showing me definitely working hard, working up in order to get management to notice your efforts. But after that, I definitely feel like a great increase in the prosperity. I do also want to say keep your eye out for a second additional offer that might be coming your way. I do feel like, you could be working kind of the two for a while, and then, down the road, it does feel like a little bit ways down the road, maybe 2 or 3 years or so, you might kind of take this second opportunity full time. Theresa, you getting anything different?
No, I'm pretty much the same with you. I just want to kind of add into that. The first one he said, second job, I kept seeing hands everywhere, so making sense it's in the restaurant industry. But I'm also kind of seeing something with your, I want to say it's your right wrist. Just kind of like moving it around, flexing it. I'm not saying injury at all. I'm just basically seeing maybe like a tightness within the wrist. I don't know if it's carrying certain things or just using it a little bit too often, but make sure what I'm hearing more is be kind to yourself, rest a little bit. But yeah, definitely good prosperity with this in a little bit more down the road, but definitely feel something a little bit bigger, a little bit more permanent within 6 months or so out from there.
Yeah, there's definitely businesses that I'm building, and so forth, and this is just to support it. But yeah, I wouldn't be in the restaurant business for another 2 to 3 more years. That's right. That's just not gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. Okay. So now we're going to move on to our topic a little bit. We're going to start with describing who spirit guides are. So spirit guides are assigned to us before we're even born. They can be people who lived previous lives, such as relatives, but this is pretty rare. I mean, typically, they're not related to you. They can also be beings that have never spent time on Earth. So this does include very rarely like angels, or they could just be beings, that have never, like I said, spent time on Earth before. They can also appear as symbols, feelings, colors, or animals. Okay, and then there are several different types of guides, which Theresa and I are going to explain to you because it can kind of be a little bit confusing. So the joy guide is a guide for spiritual development and also general happiness in life. They like to make you smile and laugh and cheer you up in times of need. And then we have the relationship guide, which helps you with romantic relationships as well as every other type of relationship you have, which could be with your children, with friends, with work colleagues, really anybody, even your kids' teachers, and so forth. It's developing relationships and helping with keeping things moving smoothly along. And then we have your work and money guide. They obviously help with career and money, but they also help with fulfilling your life contract. So part of your life duty, before you're born, you sign a contract, pretty much just saying, what you're supposed to do in your lifetime here on Earth. And this guide helps keep you on track, pushes you in the right direction.
And then we have your protector guide, who helps to keep you safe, also warns about potential harm. Your protector guide also kind of helps protect your body and everything within, so kind of helps you with stressful moments, helps with illnesses and stuff of that nature, tries to help keep everything balanced.
And then we have the healer guide. They help with physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. So, again, they just want to help, different areas of your life and, make you feel good.
Mm-hmm. And also with healer, too, I kind of want to add in there is if you're somebody who does things like Reiki or, chakra healings or, massage therapy, your healer guide is also another one that you can call on to actually help you to channel that healing energy. Because with those types of healings, we don't want to use our own energy. We want to use like a higher energy. So one thing that you can do is call on them to actually ask them to help you to focus in on where that healing really needs to take place. And that actually helps with that healing, makes it that much better. Mm-hmm. If you're somebody on the other end of it and you're receiving Reiki, basically, or a chakra healing or whatever, you can set your intentions and actually ask your healer guide to help you accept the healing, but also to ask whoever is doing the healing on you to help guide them to where your trouble areas are.
Okay, and then we have the Akashic Record Guide. They can show you past life information that is influencing your current life. So you can ask them about things that might be causing blocks or relationship problems, any issues you feel you have in this life that might be directly related to things that occurred in a past life. A call on this guide. Just be careful how you word it, though. They can show you some overwhelming information. So make sure to just ask only what's influencing my life at this point in time.
I want to say, too, though, what's really cool is with Ivy has a meet your guides class that she has here at the academy, and she goes through and helps you to, if you don't know your guides, she helps you to get in touch with each one of who those guides are, and then with the Akashic Records guide as well, reaches that guide and you can ask them any question you want. And it's a pretty interesting experience. I've taken the class twice because I just kind of feel like as a medium and somebody who tries to have a close relationship with my guides, it's always good to try to strengthen those relationships and everything else. So I did the second class trying to do that, and it's pretty cool. It's really pretty cool, and I think you can Skype in for Meet Your Guides as well. So even our friends way out in California there, you can just get in touch with her and sign up for the class online and let her know you're going to have to Skype in, and it's pretty cool. But the Akashic Records guide is really interesting.
Oh, it definitely
very,
is.
Very interesting.
Yep. Okay, now I believe we have another call coming in we're going to get to.
Oh, hello.
Hi,
hello,
caller. What's your name?
Karen.
Where are you calling from? Karen?
My name's Karen. I'm calling from Chicago.
Okay, hi. What's your question?
I have a question. I'm just wondering if you see a new career opportunity coming up for me. I just quit my job on Friday.
Okay. I do, but it does feel like it's still a little ways out. I want to say the 3-month range. So in the meantime, so it's about 3 months out. It feels like there's a little bit of like work and self-discovery you have to do in this downtime that you're going to have. I do feel like it's really going to start pushing you in the right direction, though. Like deep down, this is the direction you want to go in. And funny enough, I actually have your work guide stepping forward, saying that they're going to start doing some ringing in the ears. I see you job searching, and they're like leaning over, and I feel like when you hit the right one, there's going to be ringing in the ears just to confirm this is the right direction to go in. I also want to say definitely trust your gut. But yes, pay attention to that ringing in the ears. I really feel like they're going to guide you, even though deep down I feel like you already know what direction you want to head in. Theresa, you have anything to add?
Okay.
Not a whole lot. Kind of pretty much right on target with Amanda tonight. But no, I'm getting a lot of like you pretty much like you did the right thing, like you had to do what you had to do. So don't really kind of think back on did I make a mistake or anything else. I'm also just seeing that make sure everything that you need to have taken care of, have all your ducks in a row, as we like to say, and so forth, is really taken care of before the new employment and everything comes in. But it feels really good. It feels like there's a lot of prosperity there, and definitely want to confirm with what Amanda said, is that you're definitely going to know, like your guides are definitely there and you're in a really good place. So
okay, yeah, I have some short-term projects next week, so that'll tide me over for a little while, and keep looking. But yeah, I think you're right. I do kind of know the direction I kind of want to go into. So it's just I got to go and do it, and that's it. That's it.
Yep, they're going to keep pushing you till you listen. So definitely head in that direction that you feel in your gut. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good luck, and thank you for calling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now for our next topic, we're going to talk about how guides help. So they like to give signs and symbols to guide us. This varies depending on the relationship you have with your own guide. It varies person to person. But some examples, they can send you rainbows, butterflies, songs on the radio, animal messengers. So I want to explain animal messengers a little bit. This does tie in with animal totems. So this is a way that your guides can try to send a message to you to get your attention, and then you kind of know to tune in and listen and ask your guides what the message is. So if you're drawn to a certain animal or you see a particular animal frequently, your guides will use this animal to send you a message or, again, get your attention. So, for example, when I'm completely oblivious to what my guides are trying to say to me, I know they send me a hawk to grab my attention. So this is one of my animal totems, just the way they, again, just saying, hey, you missed a message here, like pay attention, ask us what's going on. So again, just pay attention, and also listen to your gut or like your thoughts that you have while you're seeing this animal messenger. That can also be another sign as to what your guides are trying to tell you.
I also have the hawk as well, and it's kind of interesting. I kind of think that it's kind of more for me. It's a little bit different, like how different guides use the different animals. Yeah. For me, it's kind of more of a heads up, like a protection kind of a thing, like it's almost like a warning kind of a thing. And I could be just sitting there staring out the window, and I live in an area where hawks are not common. It is not common to see a hawk or anything. Like you would see a robin or a blue jay or whatnot, but like here comes this giant hawk landing at a light post, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And I'll get ringing in the ear, or it'll just feel like there's something I'm missing. And he'll give me like a heads up and like the different signs and stuff like that. Like it's like the gut feeling. Yeah. Sometimes you get that like gut feeling, like okay, something's going on. Be prepared and so forth. So it's always good, especially when you see those animals that you're really really familiar with, and they pop in there. Like okay, like a dolphin. Like I don't know how many people live in an area where they're going to see a dolphin an awful lot, but like if you happen to see one on a billboard, you see one on Facebook. And it keeps popping up on Facebook with like the comments haven't really proceeded, like there's no other comments or no other likes on this picture. So why is a dolphin keep popping up? Or somebody else mentioned something about a dolphin. Yeah, chances are they're trying to get you to like pay attention to that. And a good thing is to Google search. Yeah. What does a dolphin symbolize, or totem animal dolphin or hawk or whatever it is. I mean, my goodness, it can even be spiders, even though we all get spiders. But like if there's all of a sudden a different spider in your house, then it's just kind of like something's up. So definitely.
Yeah, there's even a good book to look for too, Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. He does a good job of explaining all the animal messengers, totem animals. So feel free to take a look at what he has to offer. He's great at explaining those. Okay, so another reason how guides help, they help to push us in the right direction, again, to stay on life contract, which we mentioned earlier. They also like to warn us about harm in toxic situations. in order to prevent something from happening, just kind of keep you out of harm's way. And sometimes they just like to get your attention, just to remind you you're not alone. So again, if you ask for a symbol, the joy guide will pop up and show you, like a butterfly just to say hi. And, if you're feeling down, again, they like to cheer you up. So guides do follow the law of free will. They will need your permission to intervene in some circumstances, so don't be afraid to call on them at all when you need help. They'll gladly help whenever they can. Never feel like you're inconveniencing them. This is their job to help and guide us. This is why they chose us before we were born. This is why they're assigned to us to help us with our specific life mission, life contract to follow. Okay, so now I think we have a couple questions on Facebook we wanted to get to. We have one from Jan, and she asks, what does it mean when your abilities feel like they have disappeared or fallen asleep? So this is a great question. This does tend to happen with light workers from time to time. I do feel like we do have this necessary downtime when we feel like nothing's going on, but in actuality, we're actually leveling up. So again, this is, it feels like a lull, but it's really an increase in our abilities at this time. Kind of just need that spiritual break every once in a while, but it's almost like getting like downloads of information when you're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it's, I think it touches on, this is a really great question. I think it kind of touches on topic a little bit too, with the fact that sometimes when you work with your guides so much that we do, sometimes it can happen where it feels like they've disappeared. Yeah. Or it feels like the energies have kind of pulled back. You all of a sudden feel lonely, start to feel a little depressed, like everything left you. Where did it all go? Yeah, been there. And it's really just kind of more of a point where your guides help you. They come in and they help you in those moments where you need the help. And then it's the same thing with your abilities and everything too. Mm-hmm. And then basically after the stuff that really needs to be taken care of is taken care of, they will then almost like kind of like not leave you, but it'll relax a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like things will just kind of like just take it slow. They're always there. You can call on them. But the energy that you're so used to feeling, that intensity that you're so used to feeling, kind of like draws back just a little bit. And that's kind of the feeling of being lonely and so forth. But it's kind of the same with the abilities, like the guides, the abilities and so forth. It definitely just kind of just a point of relaxation, unless you get to a point where there's something you were supposed to do and you didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And then it's really just kind of like everything's kind of on halt for a little bit until you get back on track. Okay. And we have another question through Facebook from Lauren. If your guide is someone from a past life or a loved one, would they try to impose their previous life's beliefs on you?
Absolutely not. Again, they're here specifically to help us. They're not going to push you in any direction that they're used to or, that they used to partake in. So like, for example, like if you have like a native guide, they're not going to push you in that direction to, follow their belief system. They're here, again, just specifically for you. You do not share guides with anybody else. They're here assigned directly to you to help you with what you signed on for.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, too, which I think is kind of funny because it's interesting how our guides do work with us. But the one thing that you will start to do is you will start to have, like, an interest in certain things, like an interest for, like, old, like, time of, like, the 1800s, or a specific time period, like the flapper era or, or whatever, or even go back even further to the Renaissance and so forth. As we grow, as we get older, sometimes we find out that could be past life related, but it also could be a small inkling as to one of our guides. Yeah, some way there, like you were saying, like if they were like a Native American guide, and you have a strong interest towards things like dream catchers and like different like the moccasins that they make and the intricacies of things that they do in their beading and all the beautiful things around them, feathers and so forth. Then you find out later, once you look into it and everything, that one of your guides is native. So that's a nice little tie in there. I know that when I was younger, because our guides will do things like sometimes our joy guide can be a childhood friend and so forth. When I was younger, I used to have a toy, like a specific toy. It's like a Fisher-Price little radio box thing that I would carry everywhere, and it had a song on it. And later on, I found out, as I was introduced through Ivy's classes, through Meet Your Guides, that my joy guide's name is actually the name in that song.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, hey, wait, is that a coincidence, or what is this? So, but no, it's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing, but they won't, they're not going to impose things on you or anything like that, but they will give you little inklings as to what they're about or the type of person they are. Their main job really is to just keep us on our life contract, like what we signed to when we came over, when we were born, our spiritual path, what that entails. It's really their main job, to keep us focused, to keep us moving forward. But you can have those little moments of getting to know you, and I think that's what's really great about Ivy's class, and it's like just kind of asking questions, because they'll answer.
Oh, yeah.
They're really good about answering.
They're not shy.
No. So
you might not always want to answer why, but they're pretty good at giving you a direct answer to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think we have one more off of Facebook. So we have from Raymond. What are some reasons why your guides might change forms? And can all of them change or only some? So what's common when you're first getting to know your guides is they might just show up as like a particular feeling. They could also show up maybe even just as a color, like the first time you get to know them. Or they might even show up as an animal. I know this is, kind of common for some of the students. I think they might just see a symbol or an animal and kind of get confused. Like, what is this? I thought I'm talking to my guide, and here comes in this turtle. So I feel like it's really just a way, a different way to represent themselves. Another way to identify them. You might not always see them, directly as like, a person with your third eye. It might show you these other symbols, when you're out and about. Just again, just to let you know that they're there.
Sometimes it has been known to where some guides can be temporary, which I'm not 100% sure on as to why. I haven't really gotten those answers. I guess that's another one to ask. But some things I have heard too is basically that the guide that you're supposed to be with, or there is a guide that's with you, but only can be with you for a certain period of time. And depending upon what you signed in your life contract, due to that shifting of energy and that changing, another guide can kind of come in and take over. It's really comes down to being based on what you need in your life to keep moving forward and following through. But they will use animals. They will represent certain ways. If there's certain times where you're not even communicating properly with them, they'll use other ways to get your attention. So, yeah.
All right. Great. Okay, so now we're going to move on to ways to communicate with your guide, ways they communicate with you. So the first way that you can reach them is actually through grounding and meditation. And again, Ivy's class does an excellent job kind of walking you through this in-depth meditation, but, you can do it on your own. Just you want to make sure, you're doing like the protected meditation where you imagine the white light around you. You can do the roots on the bottom of your feet to make sure you're grounded and not, floating away during meditation. And just ask them to step in. You can ask, I'd recommend probably just starting with one at a time. So say like start with your joy guide, for example, and say, okay, I'm calling on my joy guide. Please come in and communicate with me now. Notice any feelings or any energy shifts you might notice. They could approach from one particular side. notice, colors and symbols that might pop in. This could be the way they're starting to open up communication with you. So just keep hanging on and meditating and, ask them questions, and they will start answering your questions. Even if it's symbolically, go ahead and look up the symbols afterwards. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Just curious. All right.
So the next way that they communicate is they like to use the abilities that you have, that you've already developed, to reach out to you and to have better communication. They will use what we will refer to and call, which are the clairs. Clair meaning is another term, I believe it's French for clear. Mm-hmm. So one of them is clairaudience, which basically means clear hearing. And what that is basically using your ability to be able to hear, whether it's your spirit, hear loved ones, hear messages and so forth. And that doesn't always mean your physical ear. That comes in through a thought process in your mind. It's almost like it just kind of goes across like a pan across, or depending upon how they're actually trying to get a hold of you. Yeah. So that is basically it's almost like using the inner ear, like your mind's ear in a way. A next one is called claircognizance, which is clear knowing. It's kind of like just having gut instinct, gut feeling, like you just know something. You'll just randomly say something and people are like, how'd you know that? Don't know, just do. I just know. They will just give you the facts. They'll just give you that information against messages that are coming through that is just handed right to you. Mm-hmm. And there it is. Another one is
clairvoyance. So again, kind of similar to what I said with the meditation, something could just pop up in your mind, specific symbol, something like this, just kind of pay attention to the way that they're sending, the information to you, because that's also a great way to know what you already have developed and maybe areas develop more. And again, just start practicing and pay attention to what they use. And then I would recommend maybe asking them to come in a different way to kind of strengthen other abilities that way. Mm-hmm.
And another one is, which a lot of people have, whether they realize it or not, is clairsentience. And what that really is basically your senses. They use your senses to get across to you. And a lot of people will have that keen sense of smell. Mm-hmm. And you will get smells like that will remind you of childhood or from a loved one, like all of a sudden you're smelling cookies and there's no cookies in the oven. Yeah. The winter clothes, it's winter, could be even during the summer, and all of a sudden you're smelling grandma's cookies, and that's grandma trying to touch base with you. Or it could be your guide trying to give you that sense of, especially if you're worked up, you have a lot of anxiety, and they have something like a memory, something that'll calm you down, something that'll relax you. They'll give you a smell of, could be lavender. Mm-hmm. Lavender is very soothing. It's very relaxing. It helps to calm the nerves. Cookies, a nice memory from childhood, something to make you smile, yep. And so forth. But guides and as well as loved ones who have passed on will use different smells to get your attention, as well as feeling. You may feel, something like a tingling down your spine, or somebody playing with your hair, or they love to use the infamous ear ringing.
Oh yeah, that's
where you go deaf, where you go deaf in that right or left ear, and all of a sudden, something happens, and there was your warning, or there was their time to try to get a hold of you.
And I just want to emphasize, with the smells and things like that, all positive, sweet smells. It won't be, anything foul smelling. We'll get into this more later. Mm-hmm. But again, just to emphasize, good, positive smells, like cookies and roses and things like that. It'll never be anything bad.
Right. Absolutely. So a next way that you can communicate with them is basically just call on them and ask directly. Like you had said before, you just basically say okay, my joy guide. If you already know his or her name, could be male, female, animal, could be hey Sparky, whatever their name is, just call them on in and tell them that you need some reassurance, need some guidance, or whatever that might be.
And then guides also may call your name. So whether you're just waking up or just falling asleep, you might hear your name being whispered.
Mm-hmm.
Don't freak out. This is just your guide trying to get your attention, saying, hey, I'm here. And, that's usually the time, the veil is being lifted and it's easier to communicate with them. So just kind of pay attention, just ask, okay, hi, like, what's your message? And, you might get feelings or things like that. But again, just pay attention, it's just your guide. Just don't freak out or worry about it.
Yeah, they absolutely love to use the I'm sleeping thing.
Yeah.
And another good thing to try to do too is also not only with like recalling your dreams, but also if your guides or loved ones or angels or so forth are trying to communicate with you through your sleep, it's always good to have like a piece of paper and a pen or a notebook and pen by your bedside. And sometimes you will have automatic writing which takes place. Like you'll write in your sleep and not even know you're doing it. You might wake up and it's there. Other times you'll wake up and, as you were saying, you're hearing, different sounds, different messages that are coming through. It really can catch you off guard, especially if you're not used to this. Like, if you're not aware of your guides and you're not used to this, it can really catch you off guard. But just, it's okay.
All right. And then another way, you can ask for a specific sign or symbol. Mm-hmm. So this is great when you're first starting off and really building that relationship with your guides. So for example, you could ask your joy guide to send you a rainbow. Say, hey, I just want to know you're here. Please send me a rainbow. But keep in mind, this also may not be a literal rainbow, in the sky. It could appear as a bumper sticker, something on Facebook, anything along the lines of that, license plate holder, what have you. And also remember to be patient, because the sign may not show up in 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes, a day or so, whenever the guide feels like you are open and receptive to seeing the message that you asked for, or the sign that you asked for.
And sometimes it can be literal, like something like just to say, I had asked for feathers. I love receiving feathers, and I never get feathers. Everybody else is getting feathers, and Tree never gets feathers. And so one day I'm in my living room, and all of a sudden it was like a feather ball hit my window. Just this blur, this white blur came barreling towards my front window. Feathers galore stuck to the window. I'm terrified that there's a bird somewhere that may be unconscious, and I'm searching the bushes, searching everywhere, and there's absolutely no signs of any bird. And there's tiny little white feathers. And after that, I heard laughing. It's like, now will you stop asking for feathers? I believe I asked you about this one time.
I remember,
Oh, my goodness, it was so funny. But, yeah, it will be literal sometimes.
Oh, yeah, it can be, definitely.
But yeah, definitely, give you different signs and things. And as you said, to be patient, because a lot of times it's not immediate.
Oh, yeah.
And pay attention, too, because otherwise you may miss it. You may keep asking, and you're actually missing that it's been there 20 times.
Yeah. And don't demand the way that it comes through either. Don't be like, I want to see a literal rainbow in the sky. No, make it happen. Be open to it being, in another form, as we already mentioned, bumper sticker, what have you. So just be open and receptive to the ways that they are communicating with you. And again, don't demand it's a particular way, because they're going to be like, yeah, well, I'm going to give you this other way.
Take it or leave it.
All right. And then kind of as we already mentioned, again, the dreams, they do love to come through this way if you miss information during the day. So again, pay attention to the signs and symbols in your dreams, like Tree already said. Jot them down if you can, and then go ahead and, look them up in the morning. There's the great dream book that Ivy loves to use, the Dreamer's Dictionary.
Yes, the one by Lady Stern Robinson, I believe it is.
And Tom Corbet.
Tom Corbet, yes. There's a lot of great, it's an older book, but there's a lot of great symbology in there that actually helps to understand what these symbols are, whether they come in the dream state or they come, just randomly showing up. You're seeing, why am I seeing a letter P all the time? Why am I, this and that. So it's a really great book to try to build like a symbol base to help with communication. And another thing is people that are clairsentient tend to be very symbolically inclined. They get a ton of symbols. So if one of your abilities is clairsentience, like majorly developed clairsentience, and you get a ton of symbols, that's definitely 100% one way that they're gonna use that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So then another way is basically just trust that the fact that you're communicating with them, that this is your guide, and it's not your imagination. One thing that they will like to do is put it across a few times to make sure that you catch it.
Yeah, they're not subtle.
So no. They will do it in a very positive form and so forth, but they will put it across and everything, and just trust that this is coming from a good place, a higher and best good for you.
Yep. And again, we just want to bring up Ivy's Meet Your Guides class. She'll go through all of this information more in depth. And again, the fantastic meditation where you can meet all of them. So check out Ivy League Psychic Academy and follow for updates on the next Meet Your Guides class.
Yes. We're going to take a question real quick from Facebook. This comes from Karen. How do I know the difference between a spirit guide and an imposter? This is an excellent question.
So we want to emphasize the importance of discernment and being able to tell the difference between positive and negative energy. There are negative forces out there that try to instill fear in developing light workers in hopes of preventing them from spreading the light. So, there might be like poorly written articles that tell you, oh, spirit guides are terrible, or, things like this. No, they're all positive. They're never going to be negative. They're never going to be harmful in any way.
And I definitely want to emphasize as well that, please do keep in mind, because this is a great lead into our next topic here, but definitely keep in mind that unfortunately there are negative energies, entities, beings, unfortunately that will attempt to try to manipulate and pretend to be your guide or a loved one to confuse and trick you so that you listen to them. They'll use different tactics to try to fool you, to try to convince you that they are your guide and so forth. It's really kind of a pushy tactic. Like your guide will never, just like a loved one or an angel, will never be overbearing on you in such a way where it's negative and so forth. Okay, so signs that you are not communicating with a spirit guide is negative energy, a negative feeling around you. You become exhausted, feeling ill. You just don't feel right. These negative feelings in general, whether it's within the air around you, like your environment just feels blah. You can wake up, exhausted all the time, and so forth. But with the exhaustion when you wake up, some of us who are light workers, we do work in our sleep.
Oh, yeah.
So with working in our sleep, we will wake up tired. This is a little bit different than that. We just feel completely drained.
Oh, yeah.
Completely like we're dragging our feet behind us. Like we feel ill. Another one is leading into illness. You will physically become ill when you're around entirely too much toxic, negative energy.
Another way that it is not your guide communicating is any negative message. Messages that are not helpful in any way, harmful messages towards you or another person, messages with ill intent. For example, messages that ask you to do something negative, such as an action, speech pattern, attitude, or judgment that has no positive or healing outcome in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, this one gets tricky, I think.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who either aren't aware of their guides or they're trying really, really hard to communicate with their guide.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of like, I don't want to say they overdo it on trying to work with their guides, but they're so intent on keeping that communication open that they don't realize that sometimes they leave themselves open for like a vulnerability.
Oh, yeah.
And when in that point, sometimes it can happen where a negative energy can feel that vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
They do love to feed off of fear and so forth. And they will kind of like swoop in there without the person really even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they will try to disrupt energy flow between you and your guide. And they will just kind of sneak in there and continue to give you different messages and so forth. But, if you are receiving messages from who you feel something telling you it's your guide, try to keep in mind that they're not going to give you very bad messages, like especially if they're telling you to harm another.
Oh, yeah.
Harm yourself, your children, or just exercise like negativity in that manner to hurt another person or treat somebody poorly, and so forth. That's not a guide's message. Our guides' jobs, as we said before, keeping on our spiritual path, but they're always going to give us messages that are for the greater and higher good, for healing purposes for ourselves, and positive messages for ourselves to move forward and everything else. And if you're receiving messages where it has no healing message at all, it has no positive message at all, chances are this is really not your guide you're hearing from. And at that point, you're going to want to assess the situation and usually refer to as cleansing and clearing and getting sage smudges. Ivy sells them here at the Academy, and getting hold of a sage smudge and really clearing that energy out of there. And try to be more positive. The more positive you are, the less anything negative is really going to want to grab a hold of you.
Absolutely. Definitely, the first sign of anything negative, absolutely take that as a red flag. And, as Theresa said, evaluate the situation and cleanse and clear as needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Another way is they will not interfere, violate, or disrupt your free will. Anything that does force us in a negative manner is not your guide. So basically, again, it's kind of like choices, like anything in your free will. Ultimately, we have the choice. Mm-hmm. We have a choice if there's something we're going to do, something that we are not going to do, and so forth. Our guide's job is to keep everything smooth and free-flowing and positive. If we go to do something, our guides understand it's within our free will and our choice. But in this case, a negative energy or something that's not your guide will keep pushing on you, do it. And, whatever that is, or call somebody this or do something to that and whatever. Mm-hmm. The more you are aware and have a handle over your own mind, the more positive your environment is, the more that they're not going to mess with you. Yeah. And then everything else will be free and clear.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing to make note of is that they do not physically touch us in any negative manner. So they would never cause us injury, harm, or any other type of problems. So no touching, no pushing, no hair pulling or scratching, nothing like that. And again, they would never ask us to harm ourselves or another in any way, shape, or form. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, it's really important because there are a lot of people that again are kind of vulnerable and everything like that. Like they don't really realize the difference. Your guides can touch you, just to kind of like let you know that they're around. It's almost like with your loved ones, a gentle brushing of your hair, touching your shoulder, even a kiss on the cheek, which might feel like a tingling or warmth and so forth. If it is a negative sort of action, hair is being yanked, pushed, and everything else like that, like anything, a negative action, it is unfortunately not your guide. and you may want to ask for help. You can ask for assistance from Archangel Michael, who is a protector, helps to keep us on our spiritual path and so forth, and ask him to come in here and help remove the situation. Also, Archangel Uriel is another protector. Yeah. He watches over. He's one of the watchers of the gates south from here. Yeah. And he watches over those, and it's part of his job to help keep things clear. So yeah, definitely be mindful of what's in your environment. What is going on? What are your feelings? What are you generally feeling or hearing, at this point, and really just pay attention to all those things and evaluate really, really well. And because your guides would never cause you to harm another, whether it's verbally or anything else.
Yep. Okay, great. So we have one more question from Facebook.
Okay.
From the lovely Miss Ivy herself.
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you see for my love life in 2017? So immediately I keep hearing June. There's like this strong emphasis on June. I also keep seeing the image of like this like garden in like full sunlight. So it feels really, really good. I do want to say I see a gentleman with, I want to say like light brown hair, and I'm seeing kind of like a mix between like lighter or like greenish blue eyes, maybe even hazel, somewhere in that range. He feels probably 6 feet tall or so. But I want to say he feels very mature and stable in his energy. I feel like he really knows what direction he wants to head in life, and he'd be a great, companion for you. I feel like also challenging you, but in a very positive way. I don't, it doesn't feel like any like negative pushback or anything like that. It feels just very supportive and loving, and again, this just feels like awesome. So what are you getting, Tree?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was definitely getting the more sandy or blonde, or not blonde. Well, it's kind of sandy blonde, more of a, it feels more brown, but it's like a lighter brown color, right in the light eye color as well. Yeah. He just feels somebody who's very kind of put together. Somebody who's going to be very supportive and understanding, even if he himself doesn't really have anything like abilities or anything of that nature. He feels like very eager to understand things and learn things, very supportive of what you do, very supportive of your home life, your children, and family life, and just very respectful altogether. I do feel a lot of free will in this. Yeah. So I also kind of feel like it's something where it's almost like an ease into, like not like something slammed together like all of a sudden, even though I am kind of getting a feeling of like familiar territory, like it kind of feels like, I don't know if it's just his energy is very familiar, like a past life kind of a thing, or if it's just that he's a familiar feeling, but a positive feeling type of person. So
lots of positivity,
there's a lot, a lot there. Definitely a respect level where she can do everything she needs to do and have her life, but then bring it together, at another time. Like there's a nice respect level there and a lot of positivity around it. So yeah,
absolutely. And I do have your aunt stepping forward as well, Ivy. I've channeled her before, so kind of know what she feels like. But she's saying, knock it off with the hesitancy. Like she knows this is good for you. She wants you to run with it. I'm feeling like don't question every single belief and idea he might have. I feel like definitely be open to his way of being. It just feels like give him a chance. It doesn't, like don't write him off. Give him a good chance. She really wants to emphasize the importance of this for you. So
it's kind of a relaxed too. Yeah. It feels like everything's rush, go. And I'm kind of getting more of like a calm down. Like kind of like a relaxed, kind of calm down, take a breath for yourself, like feet back, glass of wine, enjoy, or should I say in the teacup, something more relaxing just to kind of like unwind. Because it feels like everything that's coming, I feel like spring's going to be really big. Yeah, April, May, I'm kind of feeling more May, really. And then June, into June. So really the end of April, May, into June, it really feels like there's a lot, like almost like I'm seeing almost like a cloud, like almost like a cyclone, but like not a bad cyclone.
Happy cyclone.
Happy cyclone. Just kind of a lot in motion. If you're busy now, get ready because it's going to be even busier. But just make the time for yourself. Don't forget you.
Yeah.
Is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So.
Completely agree.
So,
all right.
Yay.
Good luck, Miss Ivy. Okay, and then we have one more topic we wanted to touch on. So what happens when we don't listen to our guides?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a term we like to use at the Academy called breaking of the legs. Ivy always gives the example of you having this gut feeling you have to leave your job because it's such a toxic situation. You know, leave. You're like, no, like I'm just going to wait it out. And then, like, an illness might set in, or your car might break down and you can't go to work, and it's like some horrible repair that like takes a week. Something to get you out of that situation in order to give you a different perspective on things, in order for your guides to really get in and say, hey, like I've been telling you, knock it off, get out of this job, go to a new one.
Pay attention.
Yep. So again, along those lines, they like to repeat messages up to 3 times until you listen. After you ignore the 3rd message, they can cut you off until you learn the lesson. And by cut you off, it just means they're not going to give you any more help. Like they stated it 3 times, you didn't listen, and they're like, well, I can't do anything else.
Yeah, they can only do so much, really. A lot of people, I would say, maybe mediums out there and so forth, like to really look at their guides like these all-knowing beings that have to help us and that have to assist us, and they have to. Mm-hmm. Honestly, there's a respect level here.
Yeah.
The more respect we give them and work with them, the more they're really going to be there to really strengthen that communication level and to really help us. So don't really expect it from them. Just know that they have a job to do too.
Yeah. And
they can really, and they're under limits as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like, not that I really want to say they're the parent and we're the child, but really what happens when you have a little kid who wants that cookie before dinner and you say no, and then no, and then no, and then they end up just taking it, or what happens, they get in trouble, right? Mm-hmm. So.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So another one is like a physical illness, losing a voice, a head cold. Basically, they will do this to get your attention, but to cut you off. Like if you're overly helping somebody, they will give you a cold so that it's been done. They're not listening. You need to start worrying about making sure your energy's good.
And again, we want to emphasize they're not doing this to cause us harm, rather to prevent us from harm. So, keeping us from harming ourselves in a way. And again, the free will is a giant thing here. So they can't intervene. They tell you 3 times and you keep saying no. They can't do anything with your free will involved, unfortunately.
Right.
They can only do so much from their end. Okay. So we want to say thank you for listening. That's pretty much the end of our show. For a full list of classes, visit ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com, and to book a reading with Reverend Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium, visit ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com, or find her on Facebook. You can find me at Amanda Friedman Psychic Medium on Facebook. Theresa, where can they find you?
They can also find me on Facebook at Theresa Tree Matuszak Psychic Medium.
All right. So we thank you for tuning in. Our next show will be March 26th here on Ask a Medium at Academy Talk Radio, where we are raising up the next generation of light workers. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.